Good morning, guten Morgen, bonjour à tous, salamat pagi. It's great to be here with you today. So I'm here to speak about the future, which is currently kind of a strange topic. Because when we look at the future, we mostly have fear and concern about all the things piling up that seem to be issues. So one of those topics, of course, is this kind of convergence of humans and machines that's happening around us. It's like when you speak to ChatGPT on your mobile phone, it's kind of like you speak to a human. Never mind if it's Scarlett Johansson or somebody else, feels very human. But of course, it's a machine. So now we're entering the age of cognitive computing, of intelligent machines, and I think it could be heaven or it could be hell. It could be heaven if we can invent new medications, if we can solve cancer, we can solve climate change, we can invent nuclear fusion, we can do protein folding, we can do all those hundreds of things, right? We can go digital with money. But it could be hell if we don't have any regulation in place, any standards, any rules, if we end up with 2 or 3 private companies essentially reinventing humanity. This is a larger mission, of course, and we think about what the future brings and how we can put it all together. As we go in the future, that is essentially driven by intelligent systems. And this is a fundamental change, because just 10 years ago, you could safely say that computers are pretty stupid. And now computers are not that stupid anymore. They're getting smart. They're thinking, not like humans, but they're learning. Great definition about what AI is, artificial intelligence. Computer systems that turn information and data into knowledge. Demis Hassabis, Nobel Prize winner, now the CEO of Google DeepMind and running DeepMind, inventing DeepMind before. I would add to this, now we have computer systems that can make content and that can generate intelligence. Intelligence, of course, in a machine way. Right? This kind of intelligence is what is a defining moment for us as we move into a future where machines can do this. This is Sora 2 from yesterday, released yesterday. OpenAI is starting essentially a social network where you can upload your own image and create videos instantly of yourself. Like this video could be a person, right? And it's like photorealistic, almost Hollywood kind of quality. It's just mind-boggling, all the things that you can do. I picked this for the dog lovers here, not the cat lovers. But this is like instantly made with a prompt. I mean, it's truly mind-boggling to think about this here, which way we're heading with this. And now, a few days ago, ChatGPT said, we're going to get into shopping. Right? So now you can buy stuff on ChatGPT. This is a big deal in Asia already, of course. So basically, you can put any app inside of the chatbot and you can buy stuff, like in this case, from Etsy, without leaving the bot. Imagine what this will do for websites like Expedia or Amazon. Essentially, the internet is becoming AI, you could say. Maybe people are saying, we're going to close this chapter of the internet and look at this number. This is the searches on Google for products. They're all declining because people use ChatGPT to find stuff. I can tell you from my own experience, once you really use ChatGPT or other language models, you probably don't go back to Google. Yeah? People contact me through my website, and now I have a form that says, where do you come from? And it used to be all Google and YouTube. Now it's like the last 10 weeks has only been ChatGPT. So I'm glad I have a pretty good listing, so to speak, on ChatGPT. But who's in charge of what it says about me or your company? We don't know. Is there any way to fix that? We don't know. Is there any way to run ads? Certainly not. Not yet, but it's coming. So we're in this sort of nowhere land right now about these things. 300 years ago, we had the Industrial Revolution. Muscle power for humans, engines, machines, airplanes, factories. It was a very big deal the last time we had this kind of change. Today, it's about brain power. And of course, not our own brain power, because our own brain power is limited. We can do all kinds of things to make it better, but in the end, it has to fit in here. I can't have another brain ready to go like a data center. So the intelligence of machines we're entering the intelligent machine age. This is like the Industrial Revolution, but 1,000 times. It's a very, very big difference because this intelligence is non-human. It's alien. It's not from other planets, but it's not at all like us. Humans have organic intelligence. We have kinetic, emotional intelligence, at least women have that, right? So, allegedly. But machines don't have anything like that. They have cognitive intelligence, numbers, patterns, probability. That's what machines have. And this world is so fundamentally different when we think about what intelligence does and how we distribute it.
The economics of information are about to radically change because we're going to reduce the cost of production of knowledge to zero marginal cost. And this is just a very...
Mustafa Sulaiman, who is now in charge of AI for Microsoft, we're going to reduce the cost of production of knowledge to zero marginal cost. Think about that for a second. Producing new knowledge and content, synthetic content, already on YouTube, 30 or 40% are done by AI videos, and on LinkedIn, it's already like 50%.
In particular, the two trends I'm most excited about for the next decade or couple of decades are abundant intelligence and abundant energy, and the prosperity that we're going to get from these two things that are unlocking kind of, I hope, around the same time.
Sam Altman from OpenAI, who's now like the Jimi Hendrix of technology. Intelligence and energy. And the energy part, I believe, in roughly 10, 15 years, we have nuclear fusion, unlimited energy. But unlimited intelligence? Think about this idea, raw intelligence without being contextual with human intelligence could be very destructive. It could be very powerful and maybe uncontrollable. And here's the other thing, AI scientists will tell you that AI is not just programmed, it's growing like a field. Right? So these people are farmers, essentially. Right? This AI is growing because it's learning from what we do with it. Right? It's growing like a baby. In fact, Geoffrey Hinton, one of the key guys in AI, the godfather of AI, said, we are growing this AI and we don't really know what happens in the process of growing. That's a scary thought. It's just like when you have kids, that's a scary thought, what they will grow up to be. How much control and influence do you have over them?
Does humanity know what it's doing? No. I think we're moving into a period when, for the first time ever, we may have things more intelligent than us.
You believe they can understand?
Yes.
You believe they are intelligent?
Yes.
You believe these systems have experiences of their own and can make decisions based on those experiences?
In the same sense as people do, yes.
This is the guy who should know, right? I mean, he's got 15 PhDs, but he's the grandfather of AI. He just left Google so he can speak about this. And he's a Nobel Prize winner. I mean, I'm not even a scientist. He's telling us basically these systems are becoming intelligent in a much larger way than answering our stupid questions. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, the question is, all technology is really like this. It can do really amazing things or really bad things. We have to create a context. We have to find a way to use it best. We are essentially at a fork in the road moment in humanity. Climate change, geopolitics, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, genome editing, geoengineering. We can do anything. I mean, this is the good news. Scientifically speaking, it's amazing. In terms of control, collaboration, we're failing. Instead of using AI to solve cancer, we built AI to have drones that can kill people by themselves. That is a true accomplishment. Right? We could use it for so many good things, but how do we actually use it in the long run? And here's the underlying problem. This paradigm, my generation's paradigm, profit, growth, power. This is the new America also, unfortunately, going back to the past. This won't work with AI because in order for AI to work, we need good standards. We have to collaborate. We have to control it. It's like nuclear power, but 1,000 times as easy. You don't need plutonium. So here we have a new paradigm emerging. It's been roughly 20 years for that, starting with Al Gore, sustainable capitalism. I call it people, planet, purpose, prosperity, and of course, the Sustainable Development Goals from the UN and so on. This is really where we are going into the good future. And this is basically our only way to use technology in a way that's good for humanity. Otherwise, we build technology to be good for those that build it. Sounds familiar, right? Social media went from being an interesting thing for us, now it's toxic, it's poison. And the companies running it mostly are poisonous. I mean, I still use it. What are you going to do, right? It's hard to quit. I quit Facebook, but hey, it's a difficult proposition. So as we go here, we have this permanent anxiety about what's happening with insecurity, uncertainty, that has exploded in the last few years because of the wars and other things. I mean, literally every factor, whether it's AI, unemployment, climate change, autocrats, has increased. And that is because we have not made the change to a new paradigm. We're still saying, okay, whatever makes money is good. If whatever makes money is good is applied to AI, we won't be here in 2050. We'll have a lot more money until then, but we're giving up control of what we want to be. Our world is going to have more change in the next 10 years than the previous 100 years. I keep saying this, I should bring it down to 5 years, really, is what's happening. These revolutions, you see here at SIBOS, every topic on this. Geopolitical, other topic I'll talk about shortly. Digital revolution, AI, intelligent computing, sustainability. It's quite clear we have to take this very seriously. If we don't go green by 2030, we will go dark by 2040. And this is not a political statement, right? This is a totally obvious thing that we can and have to do. The purpose revolution. The millennials are taking over, the Gen Y, roughly 25 to 45. They have different goals. They want to do different things. That's the purpose revolution. It's about the purpose being larger than just achieving revenues or growing revenues. And all of that is underpinned by what's happening with AI. Geopolitical, right? Basically every country in the world, of course, China and the US, maybe Europe to some degree, wants to run AI. That's kind of like saying, we have the first nuclear bomb. It's an interesting scenario that currently is really making a lot of people think very hard about the future. The geopolitical revolution from a US-centric world, the Pax Americana, to a multipolar world. I mean, that is a fundamental change in 80 years. Europe is becoming its own. Of course, China, India, Brazil, Africa. We do have some people screaming in terror at the idea of having a global collaboration. And we're clearly going to see a lot of trouble coming from this breakdown of the world order and of diplomacy. Diplomacy is no longer about making a good outcome, it's about extortion. And of course, in America, we're very likely to have a kind of second American Revolution by midterms. I mean, it's heating up in such a way we say, oh, that's going to be a fundamental change. While Europe is becoming the United States of Europe. Now, that is a painful exercise, because in Europe we're all individualists and things, right? But hey, this is our path to the future. This is where we are going, and we're going to, in that process, also reboot the United Nations. The only organization we have to deal with international agreements on these difficult things. But what are they doing? They have failed miserably in the last. It's not necessarily their fault. It's just, this is what happened. We have to reboot the UN to make that work. And that discussion in New York was raging on this topic last week. So all these technologies happening now, not just AI. This is quantum computing, nuclear fusion, all that stuff happening at the same time can be amazing for humanity, solving every single practical problem. Disease, water, food, transportation, space travel. Technology will not solve our cultural, political, social, religious, whatever problems, right? Technology will make those worse because it makes it efficient. We need to solve that. The only way to solve that is multilateralism, global consciousness. I know it sounds crazy when you think about that today, right? Today, if you say global consciousness, people will say, oh my God, haven't you noticed? Are you stupid or what? Because it looks like the opposite today. It's quite an obvious scenario at this point. So when we talk about general intelligence, it means machines that have high autonomy, high generality, and high intelligence. We have to ask this question. It's not enough if we have AI that does our businesses like Salesforce, Einstein, or Microsoft Copilot, but an AI that can be like a human? Right? I mean, who's in charge of this? Wait, let me think about it. Oh, that's Sam Altman. Right? That's the guy. He's going to have the biggest IPO in the history of the stock market because, he's making new humans, digital humans. I mean, that is the utter perversion of entrepreneurship. It's like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about resetting humanity, and who's in charge of that mission? Wired magazine has a great cover. Yeah, the tech companies of Silicon Valley praying to Washington. We took out the Washington part just to not offend anyone here, but you got to read this piece on Wired magazine. It's a really powerful piece on where things are going. And then we have this idea that we have big, beautiful AI. Guess who said that, right? We have the idea of dominating the world. We have to have a Manhattan Project for AI. Can you believe this? This is an actual discussion in America, in the United States. A Manhattan Project for AI. That's like saying we've had 2 bombs and now we're going to do it again so we can have a AI bomb. I mean, the stupidity is insurmountable. We know this doesn't work because we're going to end up using it no matter what the architects of the systems are thinking is going to be used for that purpose. So we have to think about where that's going. As you know, and you can see in media, this is a very stupid conversation. AI boomers are not age-wise, but boom in the sense of booming, right? And doomers who think it will all happen badly. I'm actually in both fronts. I think it's very dangerous for us to say, oh, he's a boomer or he is a doomer. That's like saying, it's a really black or white thing, which is in reality, AI is a science. It's not just a tech. So I start with 2 books and 2 things you should read. The Techno-Optimist Manifesto by Mark Andreessen, #1 investor in Silicon Valley, who talks about technology solving every single human problem by having better technology. That's a true sort of evangelist cult of technology. The other one, the book of the day, last 3 weeks really, Eliza Yudkowsky and Nate Soares, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. That's a book about artificial general intelligence. I dare you read the book without crying, but if you are going to read it, make sure you have some hard liquor, next to you, so you can actually survive the evening. So this is a quote from the book.
If anyone anywhere builds a superintelligence, everyone everywhere dies. They're unlikely to keep us alive in pods. We're just not that useful from the perspective of something that is very, very much smarter than us. The only winner of an AI arms race is going to be the AI. If you build a superintelligence, you don't have a superintelligence. The superintelligence has you. Nobody can build an artificial superintelligence or we are all dead.
Well, this is a great way to start the day, right? But suffice to say, it's very hard to build an artificial general intelligence, a machine that's more intelligent than all humans combined. That's not a trivial mission, right? But this is the declared goal of OpenAI. And he's saying that this will be our final destination. And here is Mark Andreessen, the ultimate technology entrepreneur and venture capitalist, of course, from Silicon Valley.
We have been and will always be the masters of technology, not mastered by technology. This is a really key point today. Victim mentality is a curse in every domain of life, including in our relationship with technology. Both unnecessary and self-defeating, we are not victims, we are conquerors. We believe America and her allies should be strong and not weak. Economic, cultural, and military strength flow from technological strength.
Military strength flows from technological strength. Right? That's the key message. I mean, if that's the message of Silicon Valley, I don't ever want to go there. Right? That's the perversion of entrepreneurship. So when this all comes together, we have to ask a very simple question. who would you trust for the future of humanity? What, the European Commission or the German Bundespräsident? I don't know, the Swiss? We have to solve this problem when we talk about AI. Again, coming back to the United Nations, it's the only game we have, really, because we have so many traps and existential challenges. We have technology where we all agree it's good to have intelligent assistants, smart software, cognification, augmentation, automation. That's what this whole show is all about. Yeah? This is a good thing. But when we take it further and then we go to general intelligence, which is a system that can surpass humans in all tasks. Sometimes we say ChatGPT is like a parrot, giving us answers. But now it's like a parrot with 50,000 PhDs. It's mind-boggling, right? So do we really want that? Is that a good idea? Is that the direction that we want to take things in? I think we should have AI that's tools. Competence. I want my AI to work, get stuff done for me, not replace me. What's a stupid idea to invent an AI God, so to speak, or an AI human, an alien intelligence that will make us the second most important intelligence? And you know what happens to the second most important. Right? So the trap of AI is it sounds so human, it sounds so real, it sounds so nice, it sounds so Scarlett Johansson, it sounds like everything is fantastic, right? And people use it for therapy. They use it for friends. Mark Zuckerberg says we should have AI friends because we don't have enough friends. What? Like here in Europe, we think of that as pure madness. Right? Like I'm going to marry an AI because it's convenient, right? Okay, maybe Mark can do that, but he has a pretty nice wife. So, however, thinking of this, when you use ChatGPT or so, all that stuff every day, the system does not care one single bit about the truth. There's no such thing with a large language model. It's probability, right? That's it. It's an echo chamber. It's cognitive outsourcing. It's a theater. As long as you know that, then be a happy user. But it's kind of like playing World of Warcraft. When you get too deep inside, you think that's reality. But these are things that are happening every single day. The worst is this, cognitive outsourcing. So every question I have, every argument I have, people used to always look up things like one of my sons is kind of like this. Every time we talk about something, he says, let me check this out, right? So he gets the facts. Right? But now you have in Korea, you have what's called Claude boys, like the AI Claude, that do nothing but constantly check what Claude says about the world. Right? That's application. It's like a mental atrophy. It's like your brain is dying because it's inside the AI. Right? It's very, very bad also for democracy because clearly, if we can't make up our own mind and think for ourselves, who are we going to vote for? Right? Whatever the AI tells us. Not good for democracy. We need to keep an eye on this. The power traps of OpenAI. Right? Number 2, this is existential because basically this is the plan of OpenAI. Right? Chatbots, reasoners, agents, innovators, AI organizations replacing humans. Their goal is not to help humans, but to replace them and to be the Tyrell Corporation of 2030. This is an interesting scenario.
AI will probably, most likely, sort of lead to the end of the world, but in the meantime, there will be great companies created with serious machine learning.
Thank you, Sam. That was 11 years ago, right? So, it's going to be fun. So, okay, I give him credit. That was 11 years ago. He may have improved, or maybe not. I don't know. But really, we have to worry about this because in the end, we look at this, Blade Runner 1982. Remember that scene from Blade Runner?
Commerce is our goal here at Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
More human than human. How much more money can you make than selling out humanity? That's how you make money today. That cannot be the goal of AI because it's flat out stupidity and greed. Seen from the book, Yukovsky's book, where it says basically the ability to think, to generalize, to solve problems, invent new technology, to plan and strategize and plot. To that, OpenAI says, we need more data centers. I understand we all need more data centers, of course. But hey, where is this going? Why? And who runs this show? Now we have people really significantly worried, point number 3 here, about what's happening. This is the trend that we're looking at, from humans doing routines to machines doing routines. This is irreversible trend no matter what you do, whether you're a cameraman or content provider or a futurist or whatever, yeah, because routines can be learned by machines. When this happens, our time gets unlocked. If we're lucky, we can do new things. But we have to think about what that means for work. I mean, every day goes by, it has these kind of things. Lufthansa always cuts jobs, so it's nothing really new there. And of course, they love to use AI as a fig leaf, say we're cutting jobs because AI is mixed. Yeah, there's no such thing. You cannot cut jobs because of AI. You can cut routines. That's not the same than the job, right? If your job is 80% routine, you're in deep trouble. Right? But otherwise, yeah, we adapt, we come up with new things, we do new things. Here's my biggest worry. What humans do. Data, information, knowledge. That's how we learn. That this will be the development of the future, where AI is gradually filling each of those blocks and getting very good at all of it, including foresight, which is what I do. To predict, to observe, to understand, and then we end up with this. And if this was the case and we could stop working and live well, it would be okay if there was a social structure around it, basic income or whatever. But if we continue like we are, it means 98% of all capital and progress in 2% of the population, and everybody else wondering what happened. I mean, this can't possibly be the destination we want. We have to protect ourselves against that becoming a default understanding. And this is the plan, for example, of the United States. The plan of Europe is different, which is why we're constantly catching, trouble from people saying, oh, yeah, we should be more progressive. Yeah. We should drop the concerns about privacy or ethics. This is the scenario number 4, existential threat. Basically, it's a feature, not a bug, to get rid of people. It's not accidental. It's built in. Check out these companies. Poster in San Francisco. Stop hiring humans. This is everywhere now. It's basically saying, okay, we can do away with this. This company called Mechanized Work says their goal is to eventually automate the entire economy. I think they come from Hollywood or something. It's like some sort of Star Trek worst case scenario to mechanize the entire economy. Make a tragic sound effect arising. If we stick with this program of building things because they generate profit and growth only, our exit is predetermined. This is our ultimate test. AI is our ultimate test to collaborate or to perish. Like Antonio Guterres says from the UN about climate change, collaborate or perish. But this is an opportunity for us, and we're not too late like we are in climate change in many ways. We are late in the game. So what now? Point number 1, let's not get confused about this. Intelligence is not consciousness. Just because these machines are intelligent in the sense of numbers and probability and smart responses and sounding like a nice fake human, right? That does not mean they exist. It's a game. It's a theater. It's powerful. We can use it. It's a tool. It's a power tool. It's not conscious. It doesn't have agency. It doesn't think. Right? It does its own way of intelligence. Automation, virtualization, cognification, these are all great things. I mean, if I can save only 10% of time using these tools, and I save sometimes 20 or 30% of this, I'm a happy man. But I don't want to save myself by saying, okay, everything I do can be done by this tool. It is a tool. It's not something higher than that. We should not strive to build machines that can replace humans, that can be conscious. What would be the point? Except for monetary riches and power. If that's the goal, then be my guest, and this is what we currently are doing. We have to think about this. We have to think about digital intelligence, which is a tool that we use to augment ourselves in our organic, biological intelligence, which, as everybody knows that has ever studied humans, contains a lot more than numbers. Emotional, kinesthetic, language, musical, body intelligence. This is why you're here. This is why you're not sitting with your brain plugged into, the latest virtuality tool, because you want to experience things, you want to be organic. In our future of AI, we should pursue magic. We should avoid the manic, Instagram, and kill the toxic. Any company that uses AI to be toxic, to pollute humanity, just like polluting the environment, we should not buy, not participate, not use their software. Because really what they're trying to do is to replace what we do, which is the wrong approach in my view. Let's pursue the magic, avoid the manic. Let's look at this and say, okay, yeah, that's great if we can have data, logic, efficiency. I mean, we're in Germany, right? We love efficiency. We love engineering. We love perfection. But that's only one part of the world. That's the world that machines understand. We need to understand what I call algorithms. And I've been working on this for 10 years in my last book, since my last book. Right? It's all the stuff that makes us human. And the future should not be saying, well, it's all about efficiency and optimization and productivity just because it creates commerce. It's also about what we want and who we are. I think we need a human resistance. So I launched a website called thehumanresistance.net, and I would say we need to figure out how we use all these things to improve our business and our activities, but still remain human. Because what would be the point of not being human? To be a cyborg, to be transhuman, superhuman, whatever you want to call it, and to be part of the technology empire, to be part of the tech suite. Last week, there was a great meeting in New York with the UN 80th anniversary. For the first time, we had a document called the Red Lines of AI. You should read it, redlines.ai, where about 200 people, I signed also myself, said, okay, we need to have red lines, like we should not have AI that controls nuclear weapons. We should not have AI that cannot be shut down, right? The red lines, basically. You take a look at those practical solutions. We should adopt that as sort of the strategy, default strategy going forward. So many people are saying today, the windows of humanity are closing. Right? The new world order, political issues, AI, thousands of genius in the data center. There's lots of worry about this, to which I would say the doors aren't closing for humanity. The doors are opening. Because these tools, if we use them correctly, can truly bring some fundamental change and improvement to our lives in every possible way. But we have to set up our mind and say, this should be for the good future. Should not just be for the financially good future, should be for the good future all around on how we want to do things. Because in the end, we have to remember, this future or the dark future, in the end, whether it's going to be heaven or hell, depends on our choices. On who we vote for, who we buy from, what stock we hold, how we act, what we think. Our mindset contains that future. We think positively, we can build a new mindset. Keep the human in the loop. Make AI as a tool. Support legislation. I know there's many things wrong about the AI Act, but we have to get there step by step. Now there's a new regulation already coming up in the US as well. And we have to collaborate to create an agency. And the most important thing, let's collaborate in principle to make this work. And that is really what's sorely missing. We're inventing stuff every single day, but every other day we go backwards in collaboration. Right? And that needs to be addressed. So I'll leave you with a quote from the famous designer, futurist Buckminster Fuller. We are to be architects of the future, not its victims. So I wish you take that home, and I'll see you next year to think about the future. Thank you. Thank you.